Hello everyone and welcome into the channel. In today's video we're on Horse Racing Manager, where we are covering the brand new game that just released very recently on Steam in early access. I've been extremely excited for this game and hope you guys are too. We're going to be covering a very bare bones start guide today. We're going to start a new save. I'm going to show you guys how I would start mine personally, and then we're going to purchase a horse, hire a staff member, and register it for a race. And then we will make new tutorial videos in the future. The first thing we'll do, of course, is click new and then new game. Here, of course, this will be whatever information you like to use. We're just going to roll through this screen quickly. We're just going to roll with the default birthday. Of course, this isn't my real birthday. But and then you'll notice these three options. You'll be like, well, what does this impact? Well, on the next screen, there's actually skill sliders for the skills that this will impact. And it kind of does a random pre-roll depending on what you choose. So you have homeless, Hail Mary, quit middle class job, or inheritance. We'll do quit middle class job, chase the dream, because that's what I wish I could do in real life. And then you'll see it rolls these skills here for us. So what you can do, if you want to randomly roll them some more, you can click roll skills. You'll hear kind of a dice roll effect that happens. If you want to set these up completely custom, however you like, click this slider right here. It zeroes them all out, but now you can slide them to wherever you want them. If you hit roll skills first, then it kind of already has them up a ways. You can move it however you want. I personally like to have everything at 50, except for like maybe jockeyship, because personally I don't like to be the jockey in game, so I don't like to assign myself to it. Just if you assign yourself to it, by the way, you don't have to be the jockey. You can still sim races, and you don't have to control the horse, or you can watch a race and you don't have to control the horse, but there is the option if you want to control the horse. I like to put everything at 50, and then some of my favorite stuff I like to move up a little bit. Table hand we'll put on like 55, put scouting on like 60, and then we'll do I like to do speed, stamina, strength, and acceleration on 60, and this is kind of my typical start. You can literally do whatever you want. This is all preference. If you hover over a bar, it tells you exactly what it does. And if you see the letters WIP or WIP, also known as work in progress, this means that it's currently not active yet. It doesn't actually have an impact on the game. But thankfully for us, work in progress means it's on the way. After all, this is an early access game, and it's a very small dev team, but they're tremendous. I highly recommend joining the Discord if you can. You'll actually see on the last screen down here, it says need help, want to talk to cool people. Definitely join the Discord. There's cool people in there. It's really fun. Sadly, that just reset our skills, so we're just going to re-roll and roll with it, so I don't have to waste your guys' time sliding these again. But yeah, definitely hop in the Discord. I'm in there as well. It's a good time, and there's some cool people. The devs are super transparent, communicate really well about what's going on. Then you'll hit next after you get your skills right, and then you'll have your appearance. You can change skin color, you can change head shape, eyes, your nose, mouth, eyebrows. You can there's tons of options here. The hair color, hairstyle. We're just gonna go with something basic like this, the closest you guys will get to a face reveal for now. Then we'll just go like glasses. We'll go no glasses. We don't even wear glasses. And if you want a hat, by the way, at least on the male option, I'm not sure for female, so forgive me on that. I didn't experiment with it. The hairstyle matters. Like on the bald option, you can apply it, and there's like another hair type. Whoops, sorry. Hair type, not hair color, that will allow a hat. But yeah, I wear a hat a lot, so let's just roll with this one. Like it, but yeah, put this however you like. Really mess around with it there, and there's even a randomize appearance button at the option if that's more your style. Next, race type. So there's actually flat racing and harness racing in the game. I'm personally most familiar with racing in North America, specifically the US. So flat racing with thoroughbreds. So that's what I'm gonna select. I don't know a lot about harness racing, but feel free to try it out. I'll probably even try it out in the future. But there's flat racing, and then I definitely recommend going with normal. It's the recommended amount by the developers for now. You'll see in alpha, and of course the game's in early access now, they generate 6 months of each world. When you pick one, we suggest for now that you pick small world. It used to say small world, now it's currently normal is recommended. I wouldn't go above normal plus. Just, I mean, if you want to try your luck, try out normal plus. Up here you have large, mammoth, and custom. I'm very excited for custom. That's going to allow us to have community-made mods implemented in the game, whether that be real-life tracks, jockey names, specific race names. It would be really, really awesome to have all that implemented. It is on the way, confirmed by the devs. There's actually some dedicated community members in the Discord that I was talking about that have made an entire like spreadsheet of all that information already, and it's just waiting to be implemented. I can't wait for it. Now, the next option you do not want to miss, that a lot of new players miss, is gameplay options. Click that. There's a whole world of settings in here that you probably would have missed out on. This is what we are just talking about with the custom schedule. For now, you don't want to use this, but once it's implemented, it'll be really cool. But that's coming, so don't worry, it says work in progress. Horse naming options. You can turn this on or off. It's just off by default. Use fan horse names. So the developers are actually awesome enough to, at a certain point, give fans of the game or people who plan on playing it the option to submit maybe their real life horse names and colors into the game. But just keep in mind, even if you're a player who submitted them, it's possible not all are generated at start, so they could appear at some. Horse birthday options. Standardized birthdays to January 1st. All horses age at the change of the year. It makes aging easier to track. So, funny enough, this setting was actually added by request by some community members, including myself, because in real life, if you're familiar with racing in the US, and a lot of, honestly, the flat racing as far as I know, I'm not too sure about other countries, but what I do know is all horses kind of age at the same time, depending on what year they were born. So all 1 year old thoroughbred flat racing horses become 2 years old at the same time. They become 3 years old at the same time when the new year rolls over. So I like to have this on to mimic real life, and it does. I mean, it obviously makes aging easier to track. That's also why they do it in real life. If you don't like that though, just turn this off. You can have realistic pregnancy timelines and all that good things. So yeah. Up next, you actually have horse breed options. You have Thoroughbred, Arabian, American Quarter Horse, and a Kale Techie. I probably said that wrong. Could be Teak. Forgive me. Probably should have looked up the pronunciation before the video. But yeah, so I'm most familiar, of course, with Thoroughbreds. So that's the way I like to play. So what I'll do is I uncheck all of these. World settings. So this is CPU starting money range, which is 1 million being the lowest. The maximum is set to 50 million. You can change this if you'd like. I personally leave it default. This next part is how many days are simulated before the save actually starts for you. So when the save is being created, this is how much history is generated before the game starts. I personally like to put this at 365. That way we have an entire year simulated of history already in the game before we even show up in, the world. Prize money multiplier. This is preference as well. I have been leaving it on 1 time, and it tells you the average payout depending on the type of race. So you have 6 race types total, right? So you have DG3, which is considered the lowest tier. You have DG2, DG1, G3, G2, G1. So you're like, what the heck does DG mean? It's domestic grade. So domestic grade 3, 2, 1. And they go in order from least prestigious to highest prestige being 1. And then the next highest prestige after DG1 is G3, which stands for grade 3, then grade 2, grade 1. And it shows you the average first place payout, depending on what you put this slider at, of course. Sorry, that was the wrong slider. Yeah, so you can make it like absolutely insane. First place for a G1 pays out 10 million, whatever it may be. I keep it at 1 times, but keep in mind this stuff is still being balanced. Right now, they really just want to iron out stability and, some crucial bugs before really focusing on too much in-depth stuff, which is understandable. Up next, we have a staff wage multiplier. I personally like to slide this one down to about 5 or 4 times, or 0.4 or 0.5 times. It's kind of hard to balance for the stable hand, because 12K, of course, is not enough for anyone to live on for a whole year. But we'll roleplay that maybe it's just a part-time job and we have multiple stable hands or something for the sake of that. But the reason I do that is the trade-off is kind of insane, in my opinion, where you have a jockey making 600K a year. But we're going to be setting ourselves to be super rich anyway, just because this is a beginner's guide and I want to show you guys a little bit of things and not have to worry about money. So yeah, I also recommend setting yourself with a lot of money on your first playthrough. For one, because bugs happen, right? And where money isn't exactly totally balanced yet, definitely give yourself a lot of money, but we'll touch on that more in a second. But I will be putting this on, we'll go 0.5, and it shows you the average salary that the staff members are going to request. And then population control multiplier, I haven't touched it at all. We're just going to keep it on I think it was on 1.5. I think I hit the button, sadly. Let me go back and go over. Yeah, I just stayed on what I put it at anyway. Okay, we'll leave that on 1.5. That's what I'm doing. Very bottom, very important. You can change these later, so don't worry. Enable staff poaching. If you don't want your staff to be able to be hired by other stables while they're with you and them trying to steal them, you can turn this on or off. Illnesses, if you don't want your horses getting sick, you can turn that off. Injuries, you can turn those off. And career-ending injuries, you can turn those off if you don't want to play with those. If you decide you do want to play with them later, or you don't want to play with them later, you can change it later in your settings. Up next, stable name. We are, of course, going to go with Premier Stables. Go with whatever you want. Starting cash, we're going to give ourselves 100 million because, like I said, I want to make sure I have enough for the sake of showing you guys some cool stuff in these videos. This will just be our tutorial save. I recommend also starting with a lot. I personally love in other horse racing games where you kind of choose how much money you start with. The humble start, where it's more of a grind. You start with a horse and you kind of earn your way up to the top. It's a slow burn, and I like that start. But right now, the game, money valuation wise, currently isn't there yet. So definitely start with, I'd say 10 million plus, or 5 million plus at minimum. Okay, stable starting horses. This is if you want to start with stables already in your, horses already in your stable or not. We're going to start with 0, so I can show you guys what it's like to buy one and register it for a race in this video, and that'll be what we're going to cover. Next, automation options. This is important. I recommend setting any of these to on for anything that you're too intimidated by learning right now. So you can go through here, and as you hover, it tells you what's going to happen. If you turn it on, for instance, this one will automatically choose the training program, effort, trainers, jockeys, and stable hands. DB controls what program and effort to use, and also who gets assigned. We're going to cover training in specific detail in future videos, but to cover all of these toggles, I recommend hovering and read what each one does for now. I personally don't turn any of these on because I like to be very hands-on as it stands. If you're going to turn any on, maybe I would say turn on automatic scouting. But I highly recommend trying to learn each of these things. But worst case, you turn them all on and learn them one by one and then move along. But I like to leave them off, so we're going to do that. We're going to hit start game. It's going to simulate those 365 days, and I'll join you guys in the save once that's done. All right, so we've got our 1 year of history. We've hopped into the save. We've got all this money. You'll notice right away you get a few emails. So you get at the end of each year a rundown of last year's champions, the manager of the year, jockey of the year, head trainer of the year, and the stable of the year. So that's really cool. You can check these out, and it'll kind of bring some life and history or lore, so to speak, to your save year after year, which is really nice. And hopefully you're able to win some of these awards yourself in the future. So up top, this is your personal cash, like your person's cash that's on them in their account. And then you have your stable cash. Okay, and this is your game date. And then this is your search feature, and this is the settings button. And then this is all of the different events that you can specifically sim to, or specific events as you register for them. So this video, we're going to be covering purchasing a horse and registering it for a race. So we got all this money, we need a race. So we're going to head over to the market tab. Right away, you'll see all these different horses that are listed for sale that appear here, plus some auctions you can register for. So if you want one of these horses, of course, feel free, buy now. I recommend checking out the details first. Something to remember when you're purchasing a horse is the knowledge feature. So we only have 57 to 62% knowledge on this horse. So to get that to go up, we would have to hire a scout and assign that scout right here. Okay, so if you want a broader picture of the upcoming auctions, head to this screen, and you can see them up to all the way to like 4 months out. Okay, we're looking for a horse that's race engaged, so they need to be at least 2 years old, right? So you can also see how many participants are enrolled in the auction. Sometimes they'll be empty, sometimes they won't. I think a lot of empty ones is just a sign of a bug, but it's definitely getting fixed. Keep that in mind. But we're going to check out this stallion auction. We maybe can't purchase a stallion that will be good to race. So if you want to participate in an auction, you find one that you like, click on it, and then over on the right, this side window pops up, and you click participate in auction. You can actually scout it in advance if you'd like by just taking a glimpse through, clicking details, and check out their buy now prices. I do think they have plans to update to show their current ability and potential ability here, so you don't have to click details every time. But for now, yeah, you just click details and just give it a quick look. Some horses have a buy now price. Some have a reserve price. Reserve means when bidding happens, if the bid for this horse doesn't at least reach 227,000, then that horse will return to its old owner. Even if it gets sold at auction, the highest bid is like 150,000. This 227,000 wasn't met. It's going to go back to the original owner, and that horse will not swap stables. So yeah, we are registered for this auction 1 week out. You'll notice it says now up here, there's an icon with a little house looking icon with the plus sign. Next auction date for your horse, 1 week. So what happens after that is where it says next event, instead of it just saying next day now, it now says next auction. So this will default to whatever user controlled event you have coming up, whether it be a race or an auction or a full birth, whatever is the soonest will now become your next event option. We're going to sim over to this auction and we're going to purchase a horse. All right, so we automatically simmed over to the auction. You'll see it now says today, and it actually by default took us to the auction screen. So here we can kind of judge the ability of the horses, or lack thereof, and we can see their name, age, what grade they are, their gender, their breed, their ability and potential ability, their rating, their dam and sire. Of course, these all say NA, where it's only been a year in, it auto-generates a lot of these horses. Their approximate value, starting price, reserve price, and buyout price. So starting price means the price that bidding has to start at, okay? Reserve price, again, that's the price that the horse must reach before it can even exchange hands to another stable. If it doesn't reach that price, it's going back to the old stable. Buyout, this is the amount of money you can offer to the stable that is selling the horse straight up, and they'll just accept it, and it'll completely void all bidding and everything. Whoever meets that buyout gets the horse. All right, so right away, if we sort by ability, we see Creek Baron. He's 10. We're not really looking to race a 10-year-old horse, me personally. So we'd probably pass on him. Up next, you will see Zarapoa, a 4-year-old, who approximate value is a max of 790,000. Again, valuation is something that's still being balanced by the devs and stuff. So don't get too worried about those yet. If you don't agree with him, it'll change. Zarapoa says that the value is roughly around 790k max. We only have 16 to 21% knowledge, so we'd be taking a risk, of course, and most horses are going to be that way. You do see Creation Cosmic. We have a bit more of an understanding of 65 to 70%, so this range of attributes is narrowed down a good bit more. You can check out a horse's recent form here or on their past results screen. Hasn't had great past results, but maybe it just needs a good jockey and a better owner. Who knows? That was Cosmic. You check out Sherlock. Again, low knowledge. But for the sake of the video, we're going to purchase a horse regardless of how good they are. This is just to teach you guys how to do it. So we are going to look into snagging Zarapoa. We want to participate in the bidding for Zarapoa. Okay, we would check this box. Now whenever the auction starts, it'll default take us to Poet's lot number, and Poet will walk out and the auctioneer will talk us through the things and we'll start bidding. I like to do the minimum bid each time until we win. In the future that may change. There may become a better method or whatever. For now, that's the way I do it. And then this horse has about 688,000. We'll see if it starts getting toward it. We might just trigger the buyout, but I'll show you guys how bidding and stuff works. Any horse you'd like to bid on, maybe you want to take a look at all of them. Feel free to check these boxes. But if you want to participate, you have to check these boxes. Down at the bottom, when you click a horse, it shows you a picture of the horse. It shows you if you wanted to set up auto bid settings, you would tick enable auto bid. And what this does, maximum bid, you put the number here that you would absolutely, like your absolute maximum that you would possibly bid on this horse. So for example, I might put 790,000 right here and put enable auto bid. And then I don't have to actually participate. I can sim the auction and the AI will bid up to that much. And if we don't win the horse, we don't win it. If we do win the horse for that 790,000 or less that we set as the automatic bid, then the horse will appear in our stable. But we're going to participate in the auction. Here's all the horse's attributes and some more information. The current owner who bred the horse, it just says NA for now, because of course it's only been a year in game. This is just a randomly generated horse. And this is where pedigree tree earnings, the dam and sire would be. But let's hop in this auction, and they actually have a voice actor for the auctioneer. Kind of cool. You'll see the current price of the horse, how much money we have, and the buyout. We're going to do the minimum raised by 5K. This shows you who the leading bidder is currently. If there's a star beside the name, of course, it's yourself. Middleton Manor outbid us, but we're going to bid. We'll make sure we win this horse just so I can show you guys how to register for a race. Even though this horse might not be very good quality, and we probably won't win the race. And see, since it reached the buyout, it automatically triggered it anyway. So we automatically got the horse. So now Zara Poet appears in our stable. Now what will happen, this knowledge will slowly go up on its own since we now have ownership of the horse. So you just got your first horse, right? First thing you want to do to every horse you get, whether it's one that was just born, whether it's one you just bought, you want to go to the training tab and you want to assign a trainer, whether it be yourself or one you hired. You want to assign a stable hand, whether it be yourself or one that you hired. Jockey, you don't have to assign yet unless you want it to be yourself. Like I said, if you assign yourself to be jockey, you don't have to actually control the horse in the race unless you want to. That is an option. I'm personally more in the aspect of I prefer more to watch the races or sim them. Right now I like to sim them because the way racing currently works is it can be a little frustrating for people. I mean, I can't lie. It's not frustrating, I guess, but it's not where it needs to be yet, and I'm aware of that, but the devs are very transparent. They're fixing it of how it visually looks. They run very far apart, or there's only small packs here and there. They're aware of how races look in real life, and they're fixing it to look that way. They're just trying to prioritize some really critical bugs first before they get to that, and that's totally understandable. But they're going to fix how racing actually looks and runs on track. I like to sim my races for now. The first thing you want to do is assign trainer and stable hand at least. You can put yourself here, and whatever jockey you put here will automatically be the one that's used in the race that you registered your horse for. So in this case being Zara Poet. While you're here as well, you can set up training programs. Training programs that you select, the impact will be shown over here. It gives you a plus whatever number every 30 days. So that means every 30 days or a month, training happens and it shows you the projected attribute growth. So with these current settings, it shows the speed is projected to go up by 0.92 attribute points every month. Okay, so you'll notice if we change this to like sprints, which really focuses on speed and acceleration, now it's 1.4. Okay, but if we go back to balance, we change the effort to hard, that 0.92 becomes 1.12. Put it on brutal, it becomes 1.4. Now there's trade-offs, right? We're only looking at the good side of things. So go back to balance. You'll see the condition is projected to stay going up consistently of 4.0. Change this to hard. Zara is projected to lose 11.2 condition every 30 days. Health risk goes up every 30 days by 1.1 and so on. So you really want to mess with this. Check out the bars over here. Check out the pros and cons and find some good mixes. To lower their temperament and health risk, you'll want to use the options wellness. You'll see it has a negative 13.44 for health, and a negative 3.73, and mental focus. Negative 3.73 for temperament, and negative 3.36 for health. So you kind of got to balance your horse. You can't just constantly over push it, so to speak. Pros and cons to everything. So I recommend checking it out and really experimenting there. We will have an in-depth training video once training is a little more ironed out and I learn a lot more about it, and I'll share that with you guys. Up next, you have food and care. Okay, so something to be mindful of at first is the cost per year. Okay, so cost per year with these current settings, the horse would cost us $12.8 thousand a year to take care of it for an entire year. That's not that bad in my opinion. So let's say we want to give this horse elite food and elite care. Okay, then that becomes $60,000 a year, 60.2 thousand to be exact. Okay, that's a nice jump. Now, when you're as rich as we are, that's not a big deal. But let's say in the future, whenever humble starts are a little more viable and you try to start with like, I don't know, 500,000, that can start to add up, you know, especially if you aren't making money on the track or breeding or whatever, you don't really have good income. You know, there's a lot more management to it. So be mindful of how much your horse costs per year. Also, these do have a place in the game. They're not just for look or financial reasons. You'll see this went down to 0.89. When I go up to balanced, it goes up to 0.92, And then right now, there's currently either a visual bug or it's not actually working, but it is being fixed, the dev said, where it's not showing the improvements on paper. I don't know if the improvements actually happen by changing the feed and care without it actually showing it or not, but you will see there's an impact depending on what you put it at, if it'll go up or down. So like I said, lots of pros and cons on this screen. You really have to weigh your options depending on your finances. All right, so now you've got all that set up. We've got the horse set up for as much success as we can control anyway for the future. So now let's register for a race. So there's a couple ways to do that. You can actually click the races tab at the bottom, which will show some near future races. Or the way I like to personally do it is head to the races tab. And then from there, you have the quick registration screen. If you had other horses, you'd be able to toggle through them here, but we only own Zara Poet, so this is all we'll see for now. At the bottom, though, you will see the age of the horse, the grade, the condition, the preference of distance that the horse prefers to run at, their last race, how long ago that was, and when their next race is, if it was scheduled. Here you see 3 races, and you can quick register them this way. It has all of their info, the DG3, the distance type, the prize, tells you if it's an advancement opportunity. This is where you can select the jockey, so on. I personally like to use the registration screen. Reason being, you can click your horse and it shows you a bigger picture at what kind of races are coming up. So I can kind of get a better look. So a few things to take note of, right? Zara has never won a DG3, and you remember earlier we talked the order of prestige from top to bottom is DG3, DG2, DG1, then grade 3, which is G3, G2, G1. So being that he's never won a DG3, he's considered not graded, right? He's ungraded. So he needs to win a DG3 before he can run a DG2. Once he wins a DG2, then he can run a DG1. Once he wins a DG1, he can run a G3 and so on to work his way up. Okay, that's how that works. G1 being the best, DG3 being the worst. So something else, distance preference is 8 furlongs, okay? 8 furlongs is also equivalent to a mile in my localization settings for where I live. Something to take note of is distance preference being 8 furlongs and then stamina. Now, of course, we don't have good knowledge yet, but it will gain since we own the horse and the horse is now at the table. We'll learn more about it and have a clearer picture. So what you want to do though is try and learn to correlate what stamina number they have to their distance preference. Now, if you hover over their distance preference, it tells you at the top what each icon means. Check mark is good match, X is poor match, question mark is a borderline match, a star means they've had a good past performance at that distance, and that is an up arrow. It kind of just looks like a line where it's so little, but it's an up arrow on the last one. It says good past performance outside preferred distance. Just because the preferred distance says 8 furlongs, which is a mile, don't mean that they could be better at a mile 1 furlong, or they could be better at like 7 furlongs instead. You know what I mean? Kind of got to find their sweet spot and keep them there. Okay, so Zara Poet, we want to register them for an 8 furlong race. All right, so you'll see here on distance, it has check marks for the match. So we're just going to go with the nearest one. When you're looking, it tells you how far away it is, what type, the distance, the prize money, the entrance fee, how many horses are registered, the average ability of the entire field that's already registered. So the average ability is 2 stars. The best ability is apparently a 2.5 star horse. Registered, just tick this box and your horse is now registered. When you scroll over, you actually have the option to select a jockey here as well. So this is where any jockey you assigned on their training tab will automatically be registered for all future races. If you don't want it to be that jockey, remember to switch it to whatever you'd like it to be. Freelance jockey just means a jockey at the track that works at that track and rides for stables and owners. It'll select one of them. But for the sake of the video, we'll just keep it on ourselves, even though usually I like to hire one. You can do whatever you'd like. So we have Zara Poet registered. We're now going to send him to the race. After you register, you'll see a flag pop up here. It says the race is in 5 days. This icon appears when you have a race coming up, and you will notice that the next event option now turned to next race. Next event will always show next day if you don't have a user event scheduled. User event being an auction, a race, or a full berth. As long as you have one of those upcoming, it'll always sim to your closest event instead of the next day. We're going to sim over to that race and we'll talk a little more about that screen. So we have made it to race day, and something to remember is in the top right, whenever you see the option that says skip to my race, that means you currently don't have a horse in the race that's on the screen. What's nice is the devs actually made it where whenever you do have a horse in the race, there's 2 stars beside their name. As you'll see, Zara Poet has 2 stars there, indicating it's our horse. So some things to take note of on this screen: the grade of the race, the max grade that can be in the race, even though this is incorrect, I do believe. So keep that in mind. This should probably just say a max grade of ungraded or maybe even DG3. But the distance of the race, the entrance fee, the amount that the winner will make, the amount that second place will get, third place will get, fourth and fifth. So top 5 get paid out. We want to make at least the entrance fee back, which is 2,000. We're hoping for 5th place. Keep in mind, I know this horse is poor. There's probably no way we win, but you never know. But you know, we bought this horse for the sake of the tutorial. Show is another word for second place. Place is another word for third place. So keep that in mind. And then you have the weather, track type, and all that good stuff. And then your horse, of course, is indicated by the 2 stars. Something else about grades, right? Just because my horse wins a DG3 and he'll be eligible for DG2s does not mean he has the quality to compete at a DG2 level. So you always want to run your horse at his level that he has the highest chance to succeed. It's okay to test your horse at the next level, but if it goes bad in this first race or maybe 2 races in a row, I highly recommend dropping back down a grade and run them there, because the last thing you want to do is keep paying these little $2,000 entrance fees and never making a profit on races. Okay. Now, I say if you have a horse finishing top 4, top 3 in the next grade up after they win, for instance, if he wins this DG3, the DG2, if he regularly finishes 3rd or top 3, top 5, I might keep trying him at DG2s. Just try him out. But you want to not place your horse above his competition level, just in case, you know, you don't want to start going in the negative with entrance fees and wasting money and time on a horse and not setting them up to succeed. So I personally like to look over at the form column. You're like, well, what the heck does form mean? Well, this is a horse's recent results. This means, for example, Zara in the last 4 races finished 3rd place in their last race, 8th, 6th, and then didn't place in the top 10. If they don't place in 10th or better, it'll just put an O there, okay? And you can also use this to judge the talent of the field. So Snapple Forte has not been good at all. Has not placed top 10 once. Is very, very bad, right? Now a horse to watch out for that looks quite good, you might be like, ooh, Franklin Spice, second. Like you feel like this colt is just due for a breakout, about to get a win at any time. That has to probably be one of the better horses of the bunch. 3rd and a 6th is also respectable, 2/3. But that's what the form tab is. And you have the current ability and potential of each horse. Keep in mind, this probably isn't accurate because we looked at grounded ensemble. Our knowledge is only a max of 13% on this horse. So who knows how good it actually is or how bad. The distance preference of the horses, you'll see how close they all are to 8 furlongs, even though it says a mile 1. 8 furlongs is a mile in my localization. So a mile 1 is literally just 1 extra furlong. Their career earnings, how much they've earned in their career, the odds that they have to win the race, their current temperament, which would be more accurate the better knowledge you have. This is the amount of knowledge you have on the horse, the jockey that's riding the horse, and what stable they're from. So what I like to do is I like to sim the races. Right now, the way the races are ran, they're, you know, not ran very close together. As it stands, like they don't really run in packs. And trust me, the devs already know this. It frustrates them as well. So they are working on it. They're just trying to prioritize some more critical bugs right now to really make the game more stable. But feel free to view the races. It's, you know, it's still cool to watch. I just like to sim them. In the future, once that's fixed, I definitely will view the races. It'll be a lot cooler to watch them. I don't like to control the jockey, but that is an option, which is where you would click take reins, take control and participate in the race with your horse. View races to just watch it. Sim will just sim the race and give you an instant result, which is what I currently like until the how the race actually runs is fixed. But I know it'll get fixed, and I can't wait. I'm not worried about it. So we're going to sim this race and let's see how Zara does. I'm not expecting great things. Zara finishes first. Oh my god. Okay. Well, that's absolutely insane. It's rigged for the video. You guys must be good luck. Okay. So Zara wins. And this is actually good. So I can segue this into teaching you guys something else about grades. So Zara wins. That's the prize. This was the payout for top 5. Actually just made us a cool 50,000. It makes you wonder what the last ownership was doing. I mean, Zara wasn't doing too hot with them, right? I mean, third isn't bad. That's pretty respectable, but instantly wins a DG3 with us. And now you'll see the horse has a grade of DG3 instead of ungraded because it won a DG3, which is really cool. So now what you'll do, it just got 5 times more the earnings from that one race. If we wanted to register for another race, we want to make sure that this condition tab is to 100% first, okay? So you probably want to sim about 2 weeks or, a month and get the condition back to 100 before you register again. So if we wanted to register again, you'll head back to your races tab. You can use whichever tab you'd like, whether it's from the profile or quick registration. I like registration, just see things a lot better. And then you will register for another race. You can go for a DG3 again, or you can go for a DG2 since your horse now fits into DG2 races since they qualified for it, so to speak, because they won a DG3. Again, something you want to keep in mind, you want to wait until your horse's condition is 100%. A lot of these races right now, as it currently works, where they happen so quickly together, these are 3 days from now, the projected condition is only projected to be 81%. That's nowhere near enough. You want to have 100% condition before you register for another race. So we went ahead and simmed a month, that way the condition can get back to 100%. And something else you'll notice is the knowledge has improved a tiny bit. It does go up slowly, but the better scouting skill you have, the quicker it goes. Okay, but since Zara won a DG3, he is now eligible for DG2. So you can actually go in here and say race filter. That'll work. Sometimes it don't work because it could bug out. Like for example, right now it don't appear to be working. That's okay. You can go down here and you can sort by type. And you actually see there is a couple of DG2s. So we know he was successful at 8 furlongs. Prefer to run him at 8 furlongs again. But he could be in that mile 1 furlongs range. And there is some DG2s for that range. So we're going to try it. I think we'll, let's just shoot for the stars. We're going to put him in the highest purse race. We would register him is what we'd try to do. Oh, it actually worked now. The filter worked after I tried to register. So oh no, it actually registered for 2 races. Anyways, ignore that. We're going to register for this 150K one. Screw it. Something you can keep in mind is, of course, your knowledge is going to be low on the horses. Well, let's say our knowledge was high on Zara. His average ability was 2 stars, okay? We would want to look for an average ability at most 2 stars if we can help it, because that means he could have solid chances in there to at least run with the equal talent, although our knowledge of them weren't great. And this shows you the best ability in there. That means this horse has a 3-star horse registered in it, so it's going to have good chances. Although our knowledge of it ain't great, that horse could be better or worse than that. We have no idea. But you would come in here. Now we would try and test him at a DG2. If he does really bad, I'm going to move him back down to DG3s, and he'll probably run DG3s the rest of his career and just try to make us as much money as he possibly can. Or he retires, we sell him, we try to put him up for stud. I don't think he would bring a lot of money because he's not a great horse. So I don't think he'd bring a lot of money through the stud fee via other people, but we could still breed him to some mares that we might not think too highly of and sell the foals on for profit, but we'll touch on that another day. For now, that is going to cover this video of starting up a save and how to purchase a horse and register it for its first race, and a rundown of how the grading system works. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. It'll let me know a lot if you appreciate it or not. And please be sure to comment down below any questions you have. Join the Discord. It'd be cool to see you guys there. The Horse Racing Manager Discord. The devs are super cool and active. The community has grown a ton since the game has dropped. But there's a lot of dedicated and passionate people in there that talk about real world horse racing and all that stuff. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and expect future content and tutorials on this game in the near future.